My name is Jeffrey Beeson, and I teach Japanese swordsmanship.
The samurai were the knights of ancient Japan. So they rose to the pinnacle of their power in the 16th and the 17th century when they de facto ruled over the entire country. At the height of samurai power, there's records that show that there were at least 1,000 different styles of martial arts. There are versions of Japanese swordsmanship or styles called koryu, and the koryu focus on maintaining the swordsmanship tradition and practice as it was hundreds of years ago and trying to maintain it the same way into the future. Because the samurai were a warrior class, the true crucible of samurai martial arts and martial arts traditions was actually the battlefield. There are other styles of martial arts and Japanese swordsmanship in particular that are trying to bring modern techniques, modern thinking, and modern knowledge to bring forward the old traditions and continue to improve upon them. In Bukendo, students learn a wide variety of techniques. Beyond just the basic techniques with the katana, students will also be exposed to using the short sword, which is known as the wakizashi. They'll be exposed to niten, or a two-sword fighting style, where a student holds the wakizashi in the left hand and the katana in the right hand. They'll also be exposed to the yari, or Japanese spear, and to the naginata, or Japanese halberd. Much like the samurai, though, the education a student receives in Bukendo really doesn't stop at martial arts techniques. We try to introduce the student to a number of other pieces of the samurai culture. Language, history, some of the samurai ethic, flower arranging, sumie painting, Japanese poetry, the haiku, are all things that were generally practiced by the samurai. Many of these things are still practiced by the Japanese widely today, not to mention martial arts. There are a really large number of reasons that somebody might study the Japanese sword.
Because I've always loved swords and I've wanted to learn how to use swords for the longest time.
Most people are seeking out Japanese swordsmanship because of an appreciation for the history or for the culture.
I've always been fascinated by the sword and the Japanese culture.
Physical well-being and physical health motivates a lot of students. And of course, there are practical applications. In Japanese swordsmanship, there are a lot of martial arts skills which are ingrained in the practice that apply to any sort of self-defense situation. My ability to control the distance between me and my opponent, my ability to evade my opponent's attacks, and my ability to be aware of my environment so that I can defend myself, these are all skills that are universal. You know, me personally, I get a lot of fulfillment out of the practice. I continue to practice myself, so I will always remain a student. But there's also just a general fulfillment in passing on the art to others and seeing others gain all of the various benefits from the practice. I think that Japanese swordsmanship is going to continue to endure both as a practice and as an ideal. The lessons that it has for us are lessons that are universal regardless of time or place. So I believe that it's going to continue to go on.